Hi everybody, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Gio, and today we're going to read Chapter 10 for The Dark, a gay science fiction romance novel. Ian. Once we got back to medical, Doc sighed and put me on the table to examine the arm and shoulder cuff. The nanites had done their job rebuilding my skeletal system to handle the weight difference between the two arms. Doc unhooked my arm. The sensations of the arm in my head stopped. I knew this was coming. It took a second to adjust to the fact that it was gone again. I never expected my new arm to be a custom-built one, but when I looked at it, I'm amazed. No other arm looked like this one. When I looked over at Rias, he had the same look as he did outside the viewport of the Adi Shachar, concentrating. He had a problem to solve, and he dove right in. The fear and exhaustion had disappeared from his face, and though he needed a stool, he worked just as hard as Doc. Only someone from one of the colonies could make something this nice. 3 colors, gray, silver, and nano-gel blue in alternating patterns across the entire arm. The various nano-muscles shimmered in the light, and the clear skin coating protected everything. Tiny lights and readouts made it surreal. My arm. Doc connected the arm back to my shoulder. Rias made adjustments to the systems from his datapad. Doc was purposefully slow, testing each section, each muscle, each nerve connection. It only shocked me once, and Rias shifted power levels immediately. I'm decreasing gain and increasing sensitivity. Tell me what you feel, he said. Feel? A switch clicked in my mind. I felt my hand. I really felt my hand. Just like it used to feel. The fingers moved just as I remembered. And I felt it. Full sensation will require days, maybe weeks, for the nerves to adjust completely, Doc said. It will take time. Sit up, flex it, move it. Let's test the range of motion. I sat up, moving each finger, the wrist, the elbow, the shoulder, flexing it. It moved like my old arm, as smooth as my old arm. It felt like my old arm. No difference. Rias, lower the gain another 10%, Doc said. I'm not happy with how its nanocomponents are coordinating with the organic muscles. Any feedback? Rias let his crutch slip to the floor and poured himself into whatever program he was working. Gain decreased by 10%. No feedback detected. Atrophy in the primary nerves? Possible, Doc said. Ian, rotate your shoulder. I did, feeling nothing. Ian, test it out for the day, but be careful, Doc said. Rias, cut sensitivity by 75% and decrease gain another 10%. Then it's back into the nano cuff for you. I'll let you go home tonight, if you're good today. When Doc was out of earshot, Rias set down his datapad. Let me see the readings tonight, and I'll adjust it how it should be. Doc is too cautious. Whatever their difference is, the arm worked. As I left medical, I stopped at a small shop and traded the medical jumpsuit for real clothes. I found jeans and a black sleeveless shirt, both to show off the arm and make it easier for Doc and Rias to work on it. For the first time since I woke in medical, I felt normal. Did I blend in? No. Look at what Rias had built. I had a work of art for an arm. Everybody on New Westra already knew who I was, and they knew that Rias had made the arm, and they all wanted to look at it. Every time I touched the arm, I remembered Rias sitting on the floor, unable to talk, still attached to all the tubes and cuffs, combining pieces of 2 arms to make this one. Nuestra, gossip capital of the Bentley-Thwaite trade arm. Had the people of Nuestra figured out how much I'm starting to care for Rias? Was I starting to love him? There aren't any secrets on Nuestra, except who let the raiders in. The raiders were still out there, but the shuttles had their jobs to do. Mines needed supplies, crews needed to change shifts, and ore had to be hauled back to the 5 domes and processed. Nuestra had only 2 shuttles to do all that. They needed at least 2 more. The raiders had never bothered the shuttles. A shuttle was about the third the size of the Adi-Shachar. It didn't have jump engines or all the cargo space, and it only needed 2 people to fly it. Short-range transport, nothing else. No weapons, no advanced sensor packages, no luxuries. Basic point A to point B flying. Stepping off the tram into the spaceport scared the crap out of me. The shuttles were nothing like the Adi-Shachar, but looking at one made me break into cold sweats. I remember the final flight of the Adi-Shachar, riding it down to the asteroid and expecting to die. The rough ride along the ground and being trapped on the bridge. "You're looking normal," Gutierrez said, exiting the tram behind me. "New clothes, new arm, new life? Change to a yellow vac suit and get your gear to Shuttle 2. We'll launch as soon as Emilio gets here." Disappearing into some side room, Gutierrez left me alone. I walked to a docking tube that led to Shuttle 2, slowing down as I approached. The fear came back. "They have target lock," Gallagher had said. "Stop it," I told myself. "It's just a shuttle ride. If I can't do this, then I have to stake a claim on this asteroid and live here for the rest of my life. I'd have to give up space, give up the Zhang He, give up the stars. Rias wasn't the only one with dreams." Even though he hadn't ridden the Adi-Shachar as it crashed, it almost killed him anyway. Rias used to have dreams. He wanted to fly, wanted to go to college, wanted to see the stars. But his dreams were buried under the ruins of the Adi-Shachar, just like mine. I walked to the viewport and looked at the shuttle. It wasn't one of the pretty Terran models, but something more practical. A colony workhorse that didn't have to look pretty, but it got the job done. A long, flat oval assembly, grav engines in the back, flight deck in the front, and cargo and personnel in the middle. Pipes, a long antenna, plating, gray rust-proof primer, dozens of small impact dents. It would go the distance. It must be 10 years old, at least, but I bet it was closer to 20. It didn't have the power of the Adi-Shachar. No crew quarters, no mess hall, no anything. Nothing to be afraid of. Yet, I was terrified of stepping through the open airlock. As the next tram approached, probably delivering Emilio, I finally stepped into a changing room, stripped, and climbed into a vac suit. I went back to the viewport. My heart raced. Boarding a ship had never been this hard before. I never imagined this would happen to me. Me! I'm afraid of boarding a simple shuttle. I'd be grounded and never fly again. Why did that sound like a good idea right now? "You all right?" Gutierrez said, and stood behind me. I could lie, but I decided on the truth. I've flown my entire life, and right now, you wouldn't believe how hard this is. Emilio set a duffel down and clapped me on the back. "Do you want to sit this one out?" I stepped through the airlock and into the shuttle. "No, let's get started. I'll deal with it." Getting suited helped. Feeling the vibrations of the engines did not. Letting Gutierrez pilot made me panic. Sitting strapped in did not relax me one tiny bit. But we didn't go far, only to the ruins of the Adi-Shachar. She had plowed into the ground, separated in half, and it broke my heart seeing her like that, The entire nose assembly was accordioned into the main body. What was worse? The huge mountain of concrete that covered her reactor and engines like a giant zit. We circled around, taking radiation readings. Levels were lower than before, but not low enough for Emilio. He wanted it 0. And with what happened to Rias, I don't blame him. "Ian," Emilio said, "I want you to hold the shuttle steady while the 3 of us release the concrete. Think you can do that?" "Understood." I traded places with Gutierrez, strapped in, and familiarized myself with the controls. They were basic compared to what I worked with on the Adi-Shachar, and it was easy to follow Emilio's direction. "Location reached," I said. "How low do you want to go?" 100 meters above the ground." "Adjusting altitude," I said. I brought the craft down, hovering above the wreckage. "We are at relative stop above the concrete. Radiation readings have risen, but they aren't anywhere close to lethal levels." "It's a go," Gutierrez said. The 3 of them sealed off the pilot's compartment, shunted the atmosphere out of the back, and opened the lower hatch. A few minutes later, the concrete fell. It hardened within 30 seconds, plenty of time for the load to descend and spread. A moment later it was done. "Ian, land us by the bunker near the Adi-Shachar's bridge," Emilio said. The area was marked with spotlights. "Understood, heading for the landing zone." I kept my voice calm and professional, even though I didn't feel very professional. As scared as I was, my reflexes kicked in, and I landed the shuttle. Landing was easy. Exiting the shuttle was easy. Getting back on board would be hard. This was probably the last time I'd ever see the Adi-Shachar. While the others were talking, I walked to the old cargo hauler, my old home, always monitoring the radiation levels. In front of the ship, the readings were almost normal. A large hole was cut in the side, just below my old bridge. I knew I shouldn't, but I climbed aboard one last time. The bridge was torn open. Inside was a mess. Gallagher's old console had been cut apart. The captain's chair was missing, and my old chair was bent and ripped and not even recognizable. Above was the viewport Rias had sealed. Every crack, every hint of a hole, every possible weakness had been caulked. Rias's attention to detail had saved my life. My eyes watered. Rias had saved my life. I loved him. As stupid, as insane, as weird and strange as it sounded. He'd only known me for a couple of weeks, but I had known him since he had rescued me. I loved the battered, broken, half-dead, neat freak, mechanical genius that had become my friend. Turning around, I edged down the main corridor, seeking the room I had shared with Gallagher. Atmospherics was there, filled with dead ferns and broken filters. I had seen the video and knew exactly where Robinson's body had been. Next came the crew mess. Nothing but smashed tables. Anything loose had blown into space with the atmosphere. The crew quarters should have been after that, but one of the missiles had detonated there. My old room no longer existed. My old life had died the moment the missile had hit the ship. I remembered the late-night poker games, or the sessions with the weights, or the insane food fight with Robinson. I must have complained 100 times, because Gallagher always left his clothes laying about. It had been a good home. I missed the Adi-Shachar, and it made my chest ache. Goodbye, old girl. I made my way back outside and joined the others. They didn't ask any questions about where I went, but I think they knew. It was easier getting back on the shuttle than I thought, and, as a test, Emilio had me fly back to the 5 domes. I bested my fear this time, but that was in a simple shuttle. It wasn't fast, it wasn't as powerful as the Adi-Shachar, and I didn't go far from home. But that didn't stop me from being terrified. It wasn't our only trip dumping concrete. We did it 4 more times, each time flying back to Nuestra for another load. The new guy, me, flew the other 4 times, while everybody else sat back and enjoyed the flight. I didn't mind. I do my best thinking when I'm piloting, and I had a lot to think about. Especially about the man that had saved my life, and I had grown to love. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I appreciate it. We'll see you next time. Peace.